Sofia has been telling us a story. She's in San Francisco. Sofia, please. I'm sorry I had to interrupt you.
Oh, no, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to talk with you. I just have to say, as an aside, over the holidays, I listened to your book. I feel like I know your family, and I have such respect for you, it's beyond belief. But when this film came out, so let me finish my story. I'll be really fast. I know time is very valuable on the air. So this woman, I won't go into details, but she was broken physically and emotionally, disintegrated, I call it, as a human being. She sat there, she watched it. I have been working with her 2 years, Larry, 2 years. I showed her the film. I look over at her. It just seems like a little thing. I'll try not to cry when I tell you this, a little thing. But the first time in 2 years, this woman who's slumping over, she won't make eye contact. She's sitting there, and I see her shoulders go back. She starts to sit up. She looks over at me. I'm going to cry. She looks over. It's a small thing, but she looks over at me, and she smiles. And it was the first time, and you know why, Larry? I'll tell you why, and I will see her face in my mind. And I saw how really beautiful she was for the first time, even with this disfigurement. And so I realized what's so magnificent about your film is it's yes, of course it's about black conservatives, but your film, what makes something a masterpiece and timeless. This could have been written any time during history because it's a universal experience that we all can understand. It speaks to everybody. It resonates whether it's a domestic violence victim, who she happens to be white, whether it's anybody, because everyone understands this is what the Democrats have done to the black people, but it's so beyond that. Your film is a masterpiece because, as I said, it's like an onion. I've seen it 4 times. It's just an onion. You unpeel it, and there's always something more. But it is something that is it is such an important work because it's not just about the subject, which is so vital, but this is what the Democrats have done to the black community, and this is what this woman's abuser did to her. It's all the same. We all understand. When you tell someone they're not worth anything, when you tell them they can't survive without you, they're not good enough to make it on their own, it breaks them. And
Sofia, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much. God bless. Sofia is in San Francisco. Sofia, you're on the Larry Elder Show. Thank you so much for calling.
Oh, it was so wonderful to talk to you, Larry. I called a while ago, and I told you about the patient. I work with domestic violence victims as well as I have my own practice. And,
Sofia, excuse me. Sofia, I distinctly remember that call. In fact, just this morning, I posted it on social media. So if you go to my Twitter file and Facebook, you'll hear yourself.
Oh! I can't stand to listen to myself.
Neither can I. Can I tell you a quick story? Sophia, we have plenty. Sophia, I hear you fine. We have plenty of time. But real quickly about not liking your voice. When I first started doing radio, I was in Cleveland and I sat in for somebody for 1 week, and I hated the way I sounded. There was a guy in a cubicle next to me doing the news. He had a beautiful voice. I mean, he sounded like James Earl Jones. Just a beautiful, mellifluous, melodic, wonderful voice. So I went over to him and I said, "Man, you have a great voice." And he said, "I don't like it." And I remember telling myself then, if this guy doesn't like his voice, nobody likes their own voice, so don't stress over it. So I'm giving you the same advice, Sofia.
Well, thank you for that. Well, I tell you, we should put you on the payroll at our shelter because you have this film, your film, Uncle Tom. I have to do a follow-up. The young lady I spoke about who had the acid thrown in her face, disfigured, she's the turnaround. Because let me tell you, Larry, well, I don't mean to tell you anything. It's your show. I don't mean to be presumptuous. But let me suggest to you that first her reaction was, of course, someone is speaking, understands how broken I am, how a person's spirit can be broken. Of course, you were talking about the black community. But now what's happened to her is because, to me, what resonated with me in the film was the idea that personal responsibility is liberating. It's not burdensome. Now, I went to and now she's actually pursuing a job. She's very good with software. We all chipped in. We bought her a computer. And, she's very conscious of her disfigurement. But your film has been miraculous. I have to tell you, I went to a Zoom meeting with some psychiatrists at Stanford University. Listen to this, Larry. And, of course, what did I get? The thing about, because I give my views about certain things, and they say, "Oh, you're so mean. The Republicans are so mean. They're so mean. They don't care about people." because I started talking about personal responsibility. So one of the doctors, sometimes you have to talk on a lower level for people, if you know what I mean. And not a lower level, more personal level, to make an argument. So I knew a little about this doctor. And she said, I knew that she had been in a car accident. She was run off the road on her bicycle. And she had a big gouging thing. Anyway, she had several stitches and staples, you name it. And so afterwards, she was sent home with a protocol. And she had to do, you can imagine, changing it every day, antibiotic creams, antibiotics in her body, changing the washing it, keeping it clean, going to physical therapy, hours and hours of this. So I said to her, doctor, I'm not going to say her name, I said to her, listen to me, you got the doctors did the initial work, but it was really, your recovery was up to you. When you got home, the doctor said to her, if you don't do this, you could have permanent nerve damage. I said, it was up to you. It was your personal choice. You were going to do what you needed to do for yourself, for your own recovery. And so he did the initial helping hand, but it was really up to you. I said, you must watch this film. So all these doctors are saying, oh, you're so heartless, you're so heartless. They were all blown. I can't even tell you. I don't even feel, I feel I have to pay you because you're doing my work for me. These people, and at all different ages, this film is so remarkable because it works on so many different levels. As I said before, it's phenomenal. But for me, the personal responsibility is so huge, and that's why I say it resonates to anyone, anywhere, any age, any country. And people call you from all around the world. It is such a remarkable film, but I have to thank you because it's so. Of course, you talk about the Black America, you talk about the Democrats and the lies, and that is. Could it be more timely than what's going on now? By the way, Michelle Obama, call me. I have a few hours, but I'll charge you a lot more because you had the big bucks. I also want to say maybe Michelle Obama. I just donated to the poor children in Haiti. Maybe she should be spending her time doing something like that, listening to that. Anyway, I don't want to get carried, but it gets me angry when I hear her whining when these kids don't have any food to eat. But anyway, I don't want to digress. But what I'm going to say to you, I can't thank you enough because this film, to me, I don't know how you made it. I don't know how these magnificent people and how you put it together in such a way that I had a doctor who's a 78-year-old Jewish doctor from New York. I've had friends from all. It doesn't matter, and you've had calls. I think a man even from Nigeria. I don't know, Germany. Someone called. It is such a remarkable feat. This film is so phenomenal, but I had to tell you because these doctors who are so hardcore that we're so heartless, and I want to get that message out because a lot of people do believe that. They think the Republicans, they don't care about the people. What we do, yeah, we do. Yeah, you want to break people to keep them as voting base for decades. But I don't want to get political. But the point is that this...
Sophia, I want you to hold on because I have a question I want to ask you. How did you get all these doctors to actually watch the movie? You made a suggestion. I would have thought they just would have dismissed it out of hand.
Well, it was interesting. It was after I told, I hate to say it, I didn't say I confronted her. And I don't know if all of them did, but about 6 of them did. Mm-hmm. When I said to the woman what I just described, when I told about her accident, and, it kind of made her think, I didn't mean to shame her, but, it was a perfect example. And so, what I said was, look, you took it upon yourself. It was really up to you. That's what this film speaks to. I said, I don't understand why, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm a psychotherapist, but they're psychiatrists. I said that you can't have an open mind. And so I think I kind of, by using her example, maybe shamed them into a situation. And actually, may I have an aside, and then I'll finish answering your question. Can I tell you something else? Do you mind?
Sure.
Okay. There's a woman.
Sophia, you have 2 minutes. Take it.
Oh, okay. Well, then I won't tell you that other story. But to answer your question, I think that was it. And so, but I didn't really expect them to. But I said, and I think they expected to watch it and come back and argue with me. I'm telling you, that's what I think was going on. Because they didn't like my position, and I think they thought, okay, you know what, let's watch it so we can come back, and because that's the arrogance of some people. I'm not saying they're arrogant, but sometimes people will think, all right, you know what, let me see what this is about, and then we can really challenge her. But they couldn't once they saw it. That was my point.
Well, I know a lot of doctors, and they have real healthy egos. You know that, Sophia.
Oh, I wanted you to say it, not me.
I used to be married to one, and she did not have an ego like that. But I went to a lot of their meetings, and Sophia, you go to a meeting of trial lawyers, and you hang out. Everybody's telling jokes. Everybody's laughing. It's loose. Go to a meeting with a bunch of doctors. It's a whole different ballgame.
This is so true. Oh, it's so true, Larry. I tell you, I love you so much. Can I just say you are the perfect man, because I don't mean to say man. Well, you are a man, but nowadays you can, because you're brilliant and everything else, but you have such a great sense of humor on top of it. So it's a perfect. I just love listening to you. But with all that aside, this film it is such a feat. It's a miraculous feat, and thank you so much.
Well, thank God. Thank you so much for your call. Thank you for what you're doing. And Sophia, please stay in touch. My goodness.